Is Call of Duty too fast, and is there no other way to fix it other than slowing the gameplay down to a halt? If we count the speed of Call of Duty currently as an issue, how do we fix it without removing people's skill expression? And if your skill is only expressed by movement, is there really much to it at all, or does it just look really flashy in TikToks and YouTube Shorts? Hey there, this is the One Boom, and today we're going to be talking about how Call of Duty has pushed a lot of its player base away through its pacing. I ask for empathy when watching this video because even if you don't think that's the case and you think the people that are saying that are just bad, it is a nuanced issue and it should be talked about because it is about the health of the franchise that if you are, into, you should care about. It's so easy for us to just say people that want slower games are bad, but in my opinion, skill expression goes both ways. The skill gap goes both ways. If a game limits you, you use a different set of skills. If a game gives you a ton of movement freedom, it also gives you a chance to express and utilize different skills. That's just how it is. To put it simply, I don't want to harp on this too long. To put it simply, classic COD was more about positioning, player prediction, and game sense. Modern COD still has that, but has this layer of reactionariness to it. How can you react to somebody flying over your head, sliding under your sight? When you start taking damage, how fast can you move and leave the engagement? The idea that a fast game is skill-based and a slow game is skill-less is absolutely just wrong across the board. More, somehow, is not always greater. So we're not going to get into all the nitty-gritty in this video about every aspect of speed. We're not going to get into sprint to fire, aim down sight, aim walking speed. We're just going to say that modern COD has a lot of force behind it. We talked about this in a previous video recently here. We talked about how an enemy player is going to be packing more variability and artillery against you than they used to in previous COD games in terms of ammunition, equipment, and the variability in which they can use those things due to positioning and movement options. Basically, modern COD players are a little bit scarier than old ones. Adjusting for skill inflation, which is basically something that goes up every year gaming exists, people have more time under their belt, they have been stacking more experiences, people are putting controllers in their hands and monitors in front of their faces younger and younger. There are 16-year-olds in ranked play that could give Optic members a run for their money. It's insane out there. So Call of Duty has more force behind it. Players are, again, packing more artillery, moving with more variability, and that's what we're going to leave it at. Now let's say I wanted to fix this as a developer without hurting your ability to express your skill. Let's say I'm not just making a whole different kind of game, I'm doing the wrong thing and trying to appeal to everybody all at once, which, by the way, in my personal opinion, is the wrong way to create a video game. You might disagree with me, but I don't think the best thing Call of Duty could do is be for everyone every year. I think they actually have to make games for audiences that like the formula. As a dev team, you should make the game you want to play. An audience will follow. Call of Duty has an established formula, and you don't really need to try to make it appeal to everybody every 12 months. Really, what you should try to do is make a game you want to make within the formula, within the bounds of the formula that speaks to you, if you're a developer in this scenario. But let's say I just want to make everybody happy. I could start slowing down the players, but then again, they're gonna be mad, so we don't want to do that. The maps is the first thing that comes to mind. A lot of modern Call of Duty map design does not take into account the speed inflation and skill inflation of the average player. People are more aware, they're more meta aware, they have more situational awareness. You're bumping into less and less people playing through TV speakers on old boob tubes, and you're bumping into way more people with gaming monitors and Astro headphones. More people are watching best class setup videos, YouTube shorts on how to win every ranked match, and so you're just dealing with a higher level of awareness across the board, both in the match itself and the meta of the game overall. So if the maps are overly simplistic, let's say they have a lot of predictable head glitches, predictable lines of sight, predictable lanes, predictable power positions, everything sort of symmetrical, you kind of just know where to aim. You know where your sight needs to be centered at, above that box, above that barrel, in that window, down that street. And you just kind of know because there's not a lot of variance to it. You have all of this increased reactionability with your movement speed, right? You have the ability to slide around corners and jump off walls and do all this crazy shit to react to the game. But nothing's really going to take you off guard. So your reactions are going to be done within this framework where you kind of expect where everyone's going to be 90% of the time, and you have all of the gear and tools and movement to react to it however you see fit, whether it's backtracking, flying up in the air, kissing the dirt with a drop shot, something like that. So one of the ways we could slow down Call of Duty is by desimplifying the maps and making enemies a little bit less head-on-head all the time, giving you more flanking opportunities, more verticality, underground tunnels, stuff like that, will allow you to actually move through the map utilizing the wide berth of movement options and mechanics and techniques that you can use to, go through a trench, go up to the top of a building, zip line down off of something, and just utilize these different types of things to navigate the space in a way that's maybe a little less predictable, making more of your gunfights less head-on-head. One of the reasons people really like Infinity Ward CODs, even if they don't agree with all of their design choices, is it allows you to usually go on flanks. There's like an underground pathway, a weird trench, a tall building, something that you can utilize to your advantage to take people off guard and hold a power position or, take a power flank. In my opinion, Modern Warfare 3 showcases this beautifully by having larger classic-style Call of Duty maps with modern Call of Duty movement. You're still fast, you can slide around everywhere, you have tac sprint and normal sprint, you can high mantle, but the maps are complex, there are areas to actually flank and maneuver. Whether it's a wide flank on a map like Derail or going underground on a map like High Rise, there's lots of variants for you to utilize. You can be unpredictable multiple different ways, and it's never slowing you down because as a player, you've been sped up. And when not all of your gunfights are head-on-head, it takes a lot of the fatigue out of the game. One of the reasons a lot of people are avoiding modern Call of Duty is they're sick of the head-on-head fatigue. Black Ops 7 and Black Ops 6, in different ways, forced you into head-on-head engagements most of the time against predictable pieces of cover, predictable head glitches, whatever. And so you enter a gunfight and you leave with barely any of your health left. This is fatiguing. Basically, every gunfight's coming down to the skin of your teeth, and any place where you could wait or flank is sort of discouraged. It's not really that useful, and it honestly just gets you called a rat because it's not like you're utilizing a flank route. It's like you're hiding behind a flower pot hoping nobody notices you're on the ground. So you extend the maps, you make them a little bit longer, and you add variants to them. And it could be stuff that's out in the open. I'm not saying add camping spots, but like a tall building that with maybe not much cover on it, but a zip line that goes to the other side of the map, a tunnel underground that can be utilized, trenches on the outskirts of the map. Call of Duty maps used to be filled with this kind of stuff, and it really helps you not walk into somebody's iron sights every single life. Call of Duty head-on-head engagements are a part of the formula, but so is map knowledge and game sense and player prediction. A lot of times you don't even get flanked in modern COD anymore. They just sort of spawn somewhere you weren't expecting, which is not the same thing as getting actually flanked, as that would require somebody to actually make the decision and not just have the game toss them behind me. So maps, add variants to the maps without reducing any of the speed, and you would see a lot less speed. You would see a lot less of an unforgiving, unrelenting force. Now this could break up the pacing, so mechanically this would have to be done very carefully. But of course, I'm not a game developer, and we don't have 40 minutes to break down exactly how this could happen. There's just more solutions than nerfing the movement. The next thing is weapon opportunity cost. One of the things that makes Call of Duty feel more sweaty and more fast-paced in games like Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7 is the amount of attachments that have zero downsides. Well, they clearly heard the feedback that MW2 and 3 and other COD games that came before them went a little heavy on downsides that were unnecessary for certain attachments, like aim down sight, speed decreases on red dots. Removing all of the downsides makes everything an opportunity cost, so you're just sort of buffing the gun exactly how you want it to be buffed instead of building the gun for the playstyle you want. You're not limited when you choose the aim down sight speed barrel by losing damage and range, you're just missing the opportunity to extend your damage and range beyond, what it was originally supposed to be. This is not a real cost, it's an opportunity cost. It doesn't make your gun worse at long range to make it really good up close, it just doesn't make it as good at long range as it could have been if you chose something else or took the opportunity to balance it the other direction. If we're gonna have Gunsmith in Call of Duty, there needs to be versatility downsides to building your gun for anything specific. If you're building an assault rifle, let's just use ARs, they're the easiest ones to talk about. If you're speeding up your AR to have the best sprint to fire time and the best ADS time and the best aim walking speed, should you be able to attack somebody at mid to long range with the same amount of ease as using the gun vanilla? Or because you tailored it to this other playstyle, should less and less playstyles be available to you? Modern Warfare 2019, like it or not, did this very well. A long barrel made you heavier but made you better at range. A short barrel, the opposite. It sped you up, but, hurt that range performance. Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7 failed to do this. So players are not discouraged from just running whatever is going to allow them to react to the gunfights faster, push you faster, aim walk around a corner faster. So you end up fighting a lot of people that are already coming out of sprint, already ADS, and already strafing you and firing And this makes the game that much more hectic. And even if you like the lack of cons on attachments, we can all agree that extra ammunition should always come at the cost of the player, whether in terms of their reload speed or their movement speed. In my opinion, it should be your sprint to fire speed and your ADS speed. Fighting somebody with an aim-moving grip, aim-moving stock, extended magazines, recoil springs, and a nice optic, that's 5 attachments. And these people are going to fly around the corner with an AR and already be shooting you. So in a game with so much predictability, in a game with so much simplicity, why do we have all of these resources for reaction? Why do we have so much versatility in our weapons? It's not required here. These maps aren't large or complicated or interesting enough to require this much reaction when you kind of know everything that's about to happen, and that much versatility when almost every engagement is fought within the same amount of ranges. This means people pushing you are just really tasked with being ready for the gunfight, whether that's already being aimed down sight or about to pull off some slide to jump or wall jump maneuver, something. They're already ready for you. That's all they have to be, and it's not hard for them to be ready for you. You only have usually 2 options in any area to push a lane or a room or a doorway. And this isn't the case for every map, and I'm being a little hyperbolic to make the point of the video. But you couple the map design with the Gunsmith with also the fact that the created class doesn't really require you to use anything to get the most out of your movement. Back in the day, you used to have to run a perk to have unlimited sprint, or use a perk to get better sprint to fire times. And that could compete with something like Flak Jacket or Ghost. But now that we are all running unlimited sprint, and stuff like aim walking movement speed and quick draw are tied to attachments, you're free to just make an entire stealth loadout with 4 blue perks, and you run around infinitely, refueling your ammo with an ammo box, dumping 45 rounds at people at a time with your M15, 0 recoil. Your ability to apply pressure is never hindered. This makes the games feel chaotic, messy, sweaty. It makes battling over the B flag against other people with a lot of initiative just a struggle. It is something it's hard to even talk and play at the same time. Sometimes the only thing to do in Black Ops 7 is to get good, to just be better, to just be faster, to just be already aiming, already shooting. And it takes a lot of your mental energy out of the picture when it comes to decision making and puts it all into reactivity. We can have fast movement with skill expression, but maybe not have everything all at once in the most predictable scenario possible. Sometimes you're getting pre-aimed in this game not because they have a UAV, sound whoring, or cheating. Often, they didn't really have much else to guess. They only had like a 50-50 chance of being wrong. So when you enter an area, likely somebody's already going to be aiming at you, or you're about to confront somebody head on. So you're not going to get behind the B flag and mow down everybody. There is no behind the B flag. There is no behind your enemy. There's no way for you to get there in the first place without at least killing several people and having them coming to your flank route to hunt you down, even on the maps that allow it. And getting to you is going to be no problem because they're fast, they don't have limited sprint, coupled that with their aim-walking movement speed and their sprint-to-fire grips, you understand my point. The game has to be designed around its own mechanics. Sometimes it feels like modern Call of Duty is using archaic, old, 20-year-old designs, not accounting for player skill, not accounting for new player movement. And it feels like the only game that was built around its lack of limitations was Advanced Warfare back in the day, building all of its maps for verticality and creating power positions that can be utilized with the exosuits. And since then, they've been sort of acting like nothing's changed, and they just keep making maps like they belong in Black Ops 2, but Black Ops 2 was a game where your ammo and your sprint was a resource, when building a class was completely different, when flinch was higher and time to kills were faster. That same map design philosophy, when you speed up all the players and remove those limitations and make nothing a resource, doesn't play the same. It's exhausting. Players are exhausted. You can disagree with me if you want. You can think that my solution's wrong, or even the premise of this being an issue is wrong, and you are totally within your right to do that. What is objectively happening, however, is there are droves of people avoiding Call of Duty. They don't want the head-on-head challenge every single life, and they've been avoiding Call of Duty for 24 months, or they will have by the end of BO7 if they're waiting for the next game. They'll have avoided COD for 24 months. And those people don't lack value because they don't want to keep up with the current pace of the game. And if anything, it's easier to make an argument that the pace of the game was not thought out when it was designed, because it's still being based around map design philosophies and weapon upgrade philosophies that don't mesh with the current speed and skill inflation of modern COD. So if you are one of those people that's waiting for the next Call of Duty, let me know what you're waiting for down in the comment section below. And if Black Ops 7 was a game with complex, large Swiss cheese maps with lots of variants and height advantages and trenches and tunnels and interactability, and the Gunsmith had more depth, would you be more interested in playing the game and giving it a go, despite the more hectic movement mechanics and the just movement heavy meta in general? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video.